Someone asked me, Daniil, why all the anti-Semitism? Why all the hate? And I want to say it's because, and it's very simple, because it doesn't make sense, right? Israel is the size of New Jersey, one of the smallest countries in the world, and it has about half the world's Jews, but it gets all the world's scrutiny, and all the countries around it completely ignored. And people wonder why all this hate. And it's very simple. The revelation given at Sinai was more powerful than anything that's happened since creation itself. There's two pivotal events in history. The first was the creation of the whole world, and the second was the freeing of the Israelites from Egypt, and they were given that revelation. And there was the world before, and there was the world after, and it's a completely different world. And there's only two ways that a person can react when they're confronted with this revelation. And I want to make it clear, the revelation given to the Jews, it was given to the Jews. It was put into the Jews. It's not something external that someone else can take and go away and go on with their life. The revelation given to the Jews was put inside the Jews. It's something that the Jews carry with them in their souls. They carry with them everywhere they go. And this revelation, you only have two responses when you're confronted with it. Either you make that revelation the center of your life and you try to draw as much from it as you can to enrich your life, or you make it the center of your opposition, that you put all your soul into opposing that revelation and to seeing how can I get around this revelation? How can I create something similar, but it's a knockoff product that I can ignore this revelation and do what I want to do? In other words, you either can be a follower of it or you can be an opponent of it. And that's what you see in the world because it doesn't make sense. When has there been in the history of the world a people that disappeared, that were basically almost sent to irrelevance, that were exiled from their homeland, and then literally 2,000 plus years later, they come back and the country's reestablished, speaking the same language, worshiping the same God? There's no precedent. When you look at other ancient people, like the Greeks, like the Assyrians, like the Chaldeans, people like that do still exist, they don't worship the same God. They don't necessarily inhabit the same land that they did in ancient times. And maybe they're not a nation. They're not a nation like they used to be in many cases. But the Jews inhabit the same land they did before. They have the same language and the same God. And people can't deal with that. It drives them crazy. That's what this is about. So you have to decide, are you going to make that revelation the center of your life? Or are you going to make your whole being to oppose that revelation? That's the choice for you. And let me make it clear. We're not just talking about being religious, because the revelation given at Sinai, it impacts every part of life. It impacts what do you do? How do you treat people? How do you treat babies? How do you treat elderly? How do you regard people who are weaker than you? How do you regard when you have the advantage, when you can take advantage of people? What do you do? Do you put a stumbling block in front of the blind? Do you use equal scales and measures in business? Do you lend with interest or without interest? The revelation given at Sinai impacts every single part of life. There's no escaping it. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and click on one of the videos above for more.